heart is good. It means you're out of that cave.
Today we're checking out all the painful scenes the Stranger Things cast had to film. From vomiting to slingshots in the face, this young cast was put through the ringer.
It's been an experience of a lifetime.
Number 1. Millie Bobby Brown had a serious case of FOMO. Millie found season 4 to be the hardest one yet for filming because she had such a dark plot in contrast to her co-stars, and found she was separated from them a lot.
It's a harder script, it's a harder storyline.
While that is pretty normal for Stranger Things, she could see Flynn and some of the others having fun on set, getting to do the more lighthearted, comedic work, and she just didn't get to be a part of it. And when you grow up with your co-stars and they're your best friends, that's rough. Millie said, "You get to see Eleven in the darkest state she's ever been. This has definitely been the hardest season I've ever filmed. There have been some of the scariest things that I've ever seen as a human." Number 2. Well, it wasn't its intended purpose, but it works. To shoot the scenes where Steve is beat up, Joe Keery was already feeling sick and had to have menthol blown into his eyes to achieve the desired redness.
Which is fun to look at and probably less fun to be in.
Listen, Vicks Vapo Rub contains menthol, and what is Vicks for? A stuffy nose. So we're pretty sure that's the excuse they went with when Joe accidentally put it in his eye. Hey, if it was intentional, maybe it helped clear his sinuses. Number 3. Joe wasn't the only one vomiting. The A Pluribus Unum episode had Eleven in the void, struggling to break free from Billy's grasp. Well, as she fell away, she twirled around. For this stunt, Millie was attached to a rig that spun her in circles. Millie admitted, "Physically, it was so unbelievably challenging for me."
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
After a few takes, it's no surprise that this made Millie throw up afterwards. She posted about it with the caption, "You spin me right round, baby, right round. Threw up after this." Number 4. Millie was really spinning before, but now it's just her head that's spinning. Shooting inside the sauna was tough on the whole cast and crew.
I think I just threw up in my mouth.
But it seems Millie took the most of the heat. They spent 4 full days on a tiny stage, practically the size of a real sauna. With 6 actors and about 100 crew, it was squishy. And it was super hot. And they shot the scene a million different ways. The scene gone wrong is the scene that made it into the show. When she collapsed into Finn Wolfhard's arms, that was due to real exhaustion. You can even see Mike break character slightly as he looks over for help. Number 5. Millie might find it too warm, but we're gonna stick around. It's quite nice in this sauna. Dacre Montgomery went a little bit too extreme and smashed his head against the sauna's glass.
You think this is funny?
The headbutt was totally improvised and, sadly, didn't make it into the final shot. Number 6. Let's just say there's a reason schools don't allow kids to have slingshots. Slingshots are not toys. They are weapons meant for taking out the creepy upside-down monsters, and that's it. Well, Caleb McLaughlin clearly didn't get the memo and hit himself in the face instead.
No! Ah!
Number 7. We imagine Millie was feeling that FOMO around this time, too. Millie Bobby Brown split open her kneecap before filming Stranger Things Season 3, so she couldn't do many stunts or even too much strenuous movement, which included riding a bike. And as we know, the cast happens to do that a lot. Number 8. The prosthetics king. Dacre had to wear 33 prosthetics for a time. And you know what that means? So did his stunt double. That's a lot of prosthetics. At one point, it was so hot and sticky out that Dacre got himself stuck to the tablecloth while he was on lunch. And because of Millie's knee injury, Dacre's scenes got moved up, which put a lot of pressure on the makeup crew to get the prosthetics designed efficiently. Sacrifices had to be made. Time over quality.
We had great fun, because I would spend like 2 hours every day getting hair and makeup done.
And the prosthetics had such an impact on him that he realized his body hair wasn't growing back in certain patches. But that isn't all that was underneath the prosthetics. Dacre didn't realize he'd been roughed up as bad as he had been until he took off all his fake injuries to reveal real ones underneath. Dacre admitted, "I was covered head to toe in cuts and bruises, and I took all the skin off the top of my toes. I just kind of invest in it." Number 9. While Schnapp may have looked sweaty, the only thing that was burning was his eyes. Noah Schnapp's black contacts seriously made his eyes fiery. But that wasn't the only thing that made filming his possession scene tough. It was winter in real life, and his costume was not good for the weather. And the heaters you can see in the show weren't generating any real heat. Ugh, what a tease. Number 10. Why couldn't she have just landed a comedy or even a simple drama would do? The best way to ruin your acting career is to obliterate your vocal cords. Millie had to scream so much on Stranger Things that she lost her voice 5 times in 8 months. But she also had to go back in for ADR, and so lost it all over again. We wonder if this halted production, or if they knew these screams would need healing time and worked the schedule around them. Number 11. Poor Demogorgons. Deep down, they're just a guy in a seriously uncomfortable situation. The Demogorgon prosthetic outfit was tough for Mark Seeger to navigate. He had to do some really difficult stunts in it, but what made it so problematic was his sight was super restricted too. It was so tough to pull off that eventually they decided to go with CGI instead.
It had to do things that a practical guy in a suit just can't do.
Number 12. Noah, more screaming, or your vocal cords might snap. We'll see ourselves out. Millie wasn't the only one destroying her vocal cords. During one long night shoot, Noah had to scream with everything he had until 6 a.m. for the exercising scene. Because, of course, Stranger Things likes to get a million different angles. Number 13. We would rather face a Demogorgon than get in a cold pool. Millie Bobby Brown was submerged in freezing cold water for the suspension scene. Despite the crew's best efforts to keep the water warm, it was just too shallow and got cold too quick. Number 14. We never really thought of filming like Groundhog Day before, but it really is in some regards. Joe Keery found the breakup scene he had to shoot with Natalia to be overwhelming, as he hadn't quite perfected the process of letting go of his character once the camera stopped rolling. To be broken up with again and again and again was incredibly tough for him. Number 15. Don't cry. If you cry, then I'm gonna cry, and if we're all crying, who's gonna comfort us? In that incredibly emotional goodbye scene in which the whole cast of kids needed to somehow manage to bring themselves to tears, they found they didn't need to rely on sad music or menthol in the eyes. Just the thought of actually saying goodbye one day was enough to do it. A reality that is coming too quickly if you ask us. Millie mentioned that one of the cast of kids proposed, "Imagine if we had to do this for real one day. What if, when Stranger Things is over, we'll all have to say goodbye to each other and, like, this is it?" And then everyone started crying, and they got the shot. The only thing more painful than any of these moments will be coming up at the end of season 5, the end. We're not ready to think about that yet. Distraction technique. Do you think Millie Bobby Brown is going too method with her acting? Or do you think her level of intensity is necessary for her performance to come across as genuine? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for hanging out with us here at The Things.